Hello, hello. We are live. It's time for Tuesday Talks. It is a beautiful day outside where I'm at. I don't know if you guys are having a great day, enjoying sunshine wherever you're at. I'd love to hear where you're walking or watching from and what the weather is like. I know that here in southern Idaho, it's just an absolutely gorgeous day. In fact, it's so nice that I almost was like, maybe I'll come up with some reason why I won't have to do the Tuesday talks today because I'm inside right now and it's warmer outside than it is inside. It's a beautiful day, and I just wanted to say that I'm a little bit, I wish I didn't have to be inside, but it is Tuesday talks. So we do this every single Tuesday, 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and love having you guys on here. So if you're here watching right now, first of all, I always want to do a quick little mic check and make sure you can actually hear me. So if you can hear me, then let me hear something from you in the comments or the chat right now. Give me a thumbs up, give me a heart, give me some kind of a signal that you're actually here and you can hear me. Because there's nothing more embarrassing than going live and then finding out that you actually were talking to nobody because nobody could hear you. So I want to give you guys an opportunity to just make sure you get logged on. I did a quick little poll. In fact, I'm going to check real quickly. I'll look in the Facebook community and see what it is that you guys are wanting to hear or talk about today. So I'll just check in real quickly. I did a little poll. Give me a second. Oh yeah, I see Brandon Hendricks just messaged in the Facebook group, the PDXREI group. 70 degrees outside, perfect for door knocking. That's absolutely right. So, yeah, you guys, if you're on right now or if you're just jumping on, let me know that you can hear me. Give me a thumbs up. And we've got a couple of people who are saying they'd like to talk about Squad Up Summit. A couple of people are saying they're interested in creative financing opportunity. I still can't tell if you guys can hear me or not. So I'm just going to double check the comments real quickly. Give me a second, check the comments. And let's see here if I can do it on this computer. I've got two computers in front of me. Sometimes it's a little bit much to try to make sure I'm managing everything here. I don't actually have a studio, as you can probably tell. So just wanting to make sure that actually everybody can hear me. Let's check this here, StreamYard. You know, the other thing too is sometimes it's kind of funny on my end. I can't actually tell if anybody's on yet. So if you are watching live right now, could you guys give me a one in the comments? Just give me a number one. Just drop a one in the comments because I literally can't tell if anybody's on right now. And so that would help me at least know that somebody's on the other end of this thing. Drop a one in the comments if you can hear me. Let's see here. And make sure that we're actually join without a mic. Let's see what happens if I do that. Okay. Because we've actually got, I think we got two. Okay, how about that? Can you hear me now? Josh, can you hear me? I thank you, by the way. Josh sent me a text. He says, hey, you're muted. So can you tell me if I'm unmuted now, Josh? Drop a 1 in the comment, or just let me know, yeah, you can hear me. Kind of embarrassing, honestly, but it's a good thing I don't embarrass very easily, because otherwise I would never do this. So I would never do it to begin with. So if you can hear me now, Josh, drop a 1 if you can hear me. I'm actually going to post in the comments. Can you guys hear me? Okay, Josh says, now we can. Perfect. Okay. All right. So I have a couple of different things. I have different directions I could go today, and I want to make sure that I'm giving you guys value. So I don't want to miss an opportunity to give you something that will be helpful. I see Ryan McNamara is here. I don't think I've seen Ryan on here before. So Ryan, welcome in. It's Tuesday Talks. Glad to have you here, bro. We've got a couple of other people. Josh Hayes says we can hear you now. And I see Andy is on here. He says blessings. I appreciate that, Andy. So guys, if you're here watching with us for the first time, oh wow, we have Julissa is joining. Perfect, Julissa, nice to have you. Guys, if you're here with us, maybe this is your first time or you're just jumping on, we've kind of gotten through the technical stuff. Appreciate those of you that kind of were there at the beginning and always kind of let me go through my first couple minutes. And let's see here. Oh yeah, Ryan's the guy we met down at we had a really great meetup on Saturday over at John George's office over in it's the Office Evolution space that John George actually owns and manages. So if you guys are in Hillsboro, Oregon, Hillsboro, Beaverton area, and you ever need a great office space, definitely see John George, John and his wife Jennifer. They own and operate that space as one of their side gigs. John has a full-time job in computer software, and then he's also doing real estate. They own a couple rentals, and they have the Office Evolution space. So really great people, and they were kind enough to open up their space to the whole entire group. So it's kind of like the whole sub 2 community slash. Let's see, sub 2 let's see, what was a sub 2 top tier was there, Gator lenders, pretty much anybody connected to the sub 2 community in the Portland area came out. So anyway, John was there, and I appreciate him. Yes, Peggy says John is amazing, and she's not talking about John Robinson, she's talking about John George. So I absolutely agree with that. Josh says, do they do daily or hourly rentals? Yes, Josh, they do. So the great thing is, if you are like meeting with a client, obviously for any type of business, but if you're meeting with a client, particularly like maybe a home seller or an agent that you want to talk about a contract, or maybe just, you kind of want to have a more professional type of atmosphere for your meeting. John and Jennifer George, Office Evolution in Hillsboro, Beaverton. They can provide a quick little stop in. So you actually utilize maybe like an open space, or you can rent a room, an office space. It's very, very affordable, and something that they do as, just one of their many different ventures that they're involved in. So yeah, we had a great time. And Ryan, I got to meet some new people there. So I got to meet Ryan McNamara and his wife, and they have some really, really cool things going on down in the Junction City area, which it was kind of funny because I grew up just outside of Junction City, just probably about, 10, 15 minutes away from Junction City. On the way to Corvallis is a little place called Monroe, Oregon. And Monroe, Oregon was population, I think like 350 when I was growing up. And then you had to turn left and go out to Bell Fountain Road. We lived about 7 miles outside of Monroe, out in the foothills of the country. My dad bought 7 acres out there, bought an old fixer. My dad was a house hacker back before anybody even knew what that was. Dad bought an old fixer on 7 acres and fixed it up. We lived in it. I remember living in a camping trailer next to the garage that had a little apartment that my dad finished out. And mom and dad and my little baby sister Lisa lived in the apartment above the garage, while my two brothers and I lived in the 24-foot camping trailer, which mom used for her kitchen and everything, while dad worked on the house. So I remember, demoing on that house, just being like, I don't know, maybe 12 years old. And that was a really, really neat project. So anyway, I grew up doing construction stuff with my dad. Anyway, down that Junction City area is where I used to hang out and, just play basketball and do all that kind of cool stuff. So really neat to meet Ryan. And they've got some really cool things going on in Junction City. if you guys are ever going to be down in that area, I would highly recommend that you hook up with Ryan and just find out what they're doing. They've got some really, really neat things. It's kind of different than a lot of people that are in the newer real estate development world, real estate investor world. Ryan and his wife are doing some pretty big things. So absolutely impressed with them. Ryan, no, thank you for coming out and letting me kind of just get to hear what you guys are doing. I'm super pumped for you guys. Hopefully, it gave you some things that were valuable when we sat down there and chatted the other day. So, Jaleesa says she's on spring break today, can actually watch live. So, very cool. Jaleesa, thanks for joining us. Glad to have you here. Guys, I had a poll that I put up. I don't know if you noticed it or not. I'm going to double check real quickly. I put a poll out there like, what is it that you guys want to talk about? And the reason I put that in there is because every single Tuesday talk, we have some different things that we're going over. And I always like to get a little bit of feedback from you guys to hear what you want to talk about. So, we can certainly, if you guys have questions you want to post in the comments, I'll be looking at that. But I'm looking at the poll real quickly. Let me just see here. Maybe Josh Hayes, you can help me too. Give me a little feedback. What sounds like people in the community are wanting to talk about. I put a poll out there. It's kind of last minute, but let me just look it up real quickly. And let's see here. Got a little bit of feedback here. Let's see. Josh, if you are on, maybe you could just hit in the comments what you're seeing. It looks like most people wanting to talk about. Let's see here. Sorry, guys. Okay, it looks like from what I can tell, we're getting a lot of feedback about the squat up. There's a couple of folks that mentioned that, but a couple of you are saying you'd want to hear about the creative financing opportunity. So if you guys are wanting to talk about the creative financing opportunity, here's what I put in the poll in the PDXREI group. We could talk about the Squat Up Summit coming up this weekend. I'm headed down to Squat Up. Some of you are headed down to Summit 2025, Dallas, Texas. Guys, this is an amazing event put on by Pace Morby, obviously, and also Jamil. So you guys know Jamil Damji, Astro Flipping Community, Keegley. So those two guys have teamed up to put on Squat Up. This is the second annual event, and last year was amazing. Even though it was the first time they'd done it, it went amazingly well. I've been to a lot of events, real estate related events, hands down the best event I've been to. And this year they're even doing better and one-upping it. So we talked a couple of weeks ago. We did a giveaway. I've got somebody that is going to Squat Up. That's Kai. If Kai is on here, I don't know if he is or not today, but if Kai is on here, you guys remember that Kai actually won the ticket. We did a random drawing. Kai won the ticket to go to Squat Up Summit 2025. And I had, as of I think it was even a week ago, I still had access to purchase another ticket for VIP access. All the general admission is sold out. VIP ticket, because I'm in Owners Club with Pace Morby, the VIP tickets were actually still available. A couple of them were, at least. I checked in this morning. All the tickets are sold out. There's literally not one ticket left. You can't transfer tickets. This is a closed door event now. And it is absolutely going to be phenomenal. 3,000 people coming together to talk about real estate. We're going to be hearing from different people yeah, that's right. Sherry says, yay, Kai. That's right. I love that. Celebrate Kai's win, right? Kai is getting to go to a VIP status event. It's going to be awesome. I asked him if he can bring some of his camera skills and kind of help do some shooting with us, because he's got kind of a knack for videography, cinematography. So hopefully he'll be helping us that way. But Squat Up is going to be amazing. But I said we could talk about Squat Up. We could talk about flip. I had somebody contact me yesterday that really wants to know more about flipping. In fact, I've got a particular property that they have asked me about. And so I reached out. I've talked to my hard money lender. And if you guys don't know this, I guess I should probably go ahead and say it. A lot of people maybe don't know this. I've helped multiple people get into their first flip. So what do I mean by that? I mean that generally speaking, when people get into real estate, they are typically looking for either like a wholesale deal, or they're looking maybe to buy and hold. a lot of people don't typically think that flipping is going to be their first, their first go. And so I flipped dozens and dozens. I would say when I did my count last time, I actually sat down and walked it through and had some of my closing statements and stuff. I counted close to 100 different flips that I've done in Portland in the last 10 years. Portland area, but I've also done some in Washington. I've done some in California. I've done a couple in Idaho, and I've done a couple in Florida, actually, of all places. So those were remotely. So I was doing all those from Oregon, but I did those with crews and with different people around the country. So I say all that to say that if you guys are wondering what it would look like to get into a flip, man, find a good deal, find a property, bring it to me. I have the hard money lenders. I have all the contractors. I've got private money access if we need to get a Gator funding to get the money put down for the hard money loan. Guys, we can do a ton of different stuff, and I've helped multiple people get into and then get through their first flip. So obviously, that's not something that I do a lot of these days, but I had somebody that reached out to me, and I'm kind of walking them through that process. So I was thinking we could talk about that, or it looks like, let's see here. Peggy says, check the website for people selling their tickets. Peggy, I'm not sure which website you're referring to, but I do know this: you can sell a ticket, but that doesn't mean that the person who buys it is going to be guaranteed to get in, because they're checking IDs. They'll be checking IDs to make sure that whoever purchased the ticket is the one who's there applying for the pass to get in. And so that I would say, just be buyer beware, right? Always do your own due diligence. From what I can tell, everyone I've talked to on the Squad Up side says that if your name was not the one who purchased the ticket, then you can't get in. They had a little bit of a time there where you could transfer, your ticket to another one, but Sherry's absolutely right, not transferable now. So unfortunately, I think if you buy a ticket from somebody without actually going through the transfer, that's a big risk that you're taking, because I don't know that they're going to let you in. So just be aware of that. But here's the thing: everyone's wanting to hear about this creative financing opportunity that I've got, and so that was one of the poll options. So you guys see, I did a little poll there for today's Tuesday Talks. What should we talk about? What do you guys want to discuss? And it seems like the predominant amount of feedback is creative financing. Okay, what is creative financing? First of all, creative financing is obviously anything that is not traditional. So that's a real quick summarized statement on it. Creative financing that we would typically maybe know about or hear about would be like an owner's carry contract, where the owner of the property, maybe they own the property free and clear, and they're willing to sell it on some kind of a payment schedule. As long as you're making payments to the seller, then they're pretty much carrying the note for you. So that's one. Another one that's really popular, of course, popularized by our friend and our mentor, our fellow real estate investor guru, whatever you want to call him, Pace Morby, he's not the one that came up with the idea of subject to purchase or sales. He's definitely the one who has popularized it, and he's done an extremely good job of not only getting awareness to the concept of subject to purchase and sale contracts, but also created not only a structure for doing it, but created a community for supporting those that are doing it. And that's what we call the sub two community. So you'll see a lot of people running around with the two fingers sub two. That's actually something that he tells the story about how one of the people that he bought, a seller that he bought a property from, sent that in a text message, like sub and then the little two emoji. And that just kind of became the emblem, the symbol for subject to in the 21st century. So Pace Morby, obviously insanely popular in the real estate communities. Some people really don't like him at all. Some people say he's a scam artist and everything like that. Again, I've been around him, had several deals that I've done with him. I've been a part of his community for over 2 years. I knew him before he even had a community. And I would absolutely say that I vouch for his credibility and for his integrity. Just an amazing person, amazing human being, in my opinion. Not definitely, doesn't mean that he's got everything perfect or I agree with everything that he says or does. I'm just saying I don't see any reason to imagine that he's not exactly what he says he is. And so, because of who Pace is, he's made it popular, and that's one of the probably the most prominent ways of closing a creative financing deal, or at least most popular now, is subject to. So this opportunity that I have, there's an opportunity that I have here that I've thought about making known on this group or putting it out of my group. I typically like to bring these opportunities to my actual lenders that I work with on a regular basis. And the reason I do that is, well, there's a couple reasons. Why would I? Maybe somebody could give me some reasons, give me some feedback in the comments if you think why I typically like to bring my opportunities to my known lenders first before I just throw it out there in the community. As much as I want you guys to be able to do deals and want you to be involved in some of the stuff I'm doing, why would I bring my opportunities to my known lenders before I bring it out to the community here? Anybody have any ideas? I'm checking the comments here. Let me see what the comments have to say. See if anybody's put anything in there yet. By the way, I can't really tell. Let's see. Ryan McNamara says trust and prior history. Absolutely correct. Tess says repeat business. Yes. Julissa says she's not really sure why I would do that. Mel says to know if it's financeable. So yes and no. Maybe I didn't quite understand what you meant by that, Mel. But so when we talk about creative financing opportunities, what we're typically, it doesn't mean it's an absolute, but what we're typically doing is we're bringing a deal that has a loan in place already, right? And we're purchasing the property just like we normally would. We're purchasing that property subject to that existing loan. What do we mean by that? And most of you know this, but if we're purchasing a property subject to the existing loan or existing mortgage, that means we're saying that loan that's in place in the seller's name, say it's John and Jane Smith, and they are the owners on the title. By the way, there's two different things, right? There's the title or the deed, and then there's the actual loan note. So it's a note or a mortgage, right? So on title, the name would transfer to me, right? Out of the seller's name into my name on title, but the loan would stay in place in the seller's name, and I just begin to make payments on that loan. So that's typically subject to type of thing. So in other words, I wouldn't be getting into a property like this one I'm talking about today, unless I know that it's actually, a viable deal for me. Like obviously it has to be financeable, or at least the property used to be financeable. So Mel, I'm not sure if that explains what you were thinking, but just to clarify. So Josh says to provide value to the lenders in return. And then my question was, why would I take these type of opportunities to my known and proven lenders, existing lenders, as opposed to bringing it into the group or in the community? So yes, to provide them value. And then Josh says, because they know, they will be able to make the payments because they're experienced investors. Okay. So I want to back up and clarify. When I'm talking about bringing an opportunity to a lender that I've already worked with before, as opposed to bringing it to this group or this community and say, hey guys, I got another deal, which by the way, I come across deals all the time. I don't bring a lot of these deals to this community because I've already got established relationships with other lenders that I know, hey, if I go to those lenders, this is really what I want to talk about. Sherry says developed trust. That's absolutely correct. Tess says repeat business. Ryan, again, trust and prior history. Yes. Josh says to provide them value in return. Yes, 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 and yes. But guys, remember what we're talking about is we're talking about me going to a lender and saying this. Hey, I know that we've done business before, and I know that that some of these lenders I've done multiple deals with, right? Multiple transactions. So I go to these people, and by the way, these are not like big gurus. These are not like big time real estate movers and shakers. These are just everyday people that I've established relationships with, or even have relationships with already in existence. And I go to those lenders and I say, listen, I have a property that I'm looking to purchase, and I'm going to purchase it leaving the existing mortgage in place. In other words, I'm going to take over the payments. That's the way sometimes it's easiest to explain. I'm not going to assume the loan. I'm going to take it subject to, but some of that stuff is, some people don't really care. I just basically, in a nutshell, when I'm first approaching them, I say, hey, I have a property that I'm going to take over the existing payments on. Typically, these types of deals, why would someone be interested in selling? I'm going to test you guys' knowledge now. Okay, you guys ready? You guys want to get your knowledge tested? Why would someone be willing to sell a property to me and let the deed, which one was it? Which finger was it? Let's let the deed transfer to my, out of their name and into my name. So that deed is, remember, it says who's the owner of this property, right? So if you look up the owner of like my personal residence, you're going to see that, John and Lindsay Robinson are on the deed as the owners, right? It's recorded in the county records that John and Lindsay Robinson owned this property. And then on the note, right, the mortgage note, there's going to be a note that says, and I owe ABC Bank, they have a note against the deed that says that, we owe them a certain amount of money. And that house is going to continue to have this deed and this lien recorded against it until that note is paid off. And that time that deed becomes free and clear. Okay. So why would someone take their name off the deed and put it in my name and leave their name on a loan? Okay. So I'm going to check the comments here. Josh says, because they'll be, okay, that was an old comment. Josh says, because they have low or zero equity, so there's no choice. Andy says no equity. Correct. Ryan says foreclosure. Typically, yes, these are someone. Tess, you guys are awesome. You guys are so smart. See, I don't know what you guys are even here doing. I should be learning from you guys. Tess says that they have arrears. It's going to cost them to sell it traditionally. Absolutely correct, Tess. So in today's economy with interest rates so high, and by the way, some of these people, they purchased, probably, let's just say 2000 and early 2020, 2021, 2019 even. You have people that purchase at the very top of the market, right? Remember, these are not investors. These are people that are just trying to get into a house, and they had tremendous opportunity to do so with the low interest rates that were there for a while. But remember, the demand for housing was so high that a lot of people, what happened? They ended up getting outbid on their offers. And so what people did is a lot of people actually overpaid. They paid more than the market value supported, but they just paid to get into that house. And now they want to sell. And the market value is obviously, it didn't really come up to where they paid. It actually dropped from where it was to, it's even lower now than what it was when they were trying to purchase. Is that making sense? If that's making sense to you guys, give me a 1 in the comments. Give me a 1 in the comments, or give me a thumbs up or something. Just want to make sure I'm not losing anybody. So give me a 1 in the comments. Sherry says the owner is motivated to sell if they are willing to sub to. Yes, they're motivated to sell, but absolutely. By the way, thank you guys. I see you coming in. Okay, perfect. Hey, Tyler, good to see you, bro. Okay. So they're motivated to sell, yes, but the main reason why they have such high motivation typically is, like Tess was saying, because they're in arrears. In other words, they got behind on their payments somehow, or they need to sell, or they purchase another place and now they're kind of getting behind, or they're making 2 different mortgage payments at the same time. And they can't really sell as easily as it was back when they were purchasing, because the interest rates are so high, because the property prices have come down a little bit. So think about this. If you were in the market for a fairly new home right now, and you were going to go look at a brand new house where it's built by a builder who is offering all kinds of incentives to get you to buy their house, like maybe they're willing to buy down your interest rate. Maybe they're including things like 1 year's free maintenance or whatever. Maybe they have things like, some of them are like literally staging houses and saying you can buy all the furniture, or throwing in a big screen TV, whatever, right? Builders have different perks that they can offer. And typically they're actually working with dedicated lenders who are able to provide special financing to someone buying a brand new house. So why would somebody, if I'm a buyer going out and looking and I have to pay 6.5% interest to buy your house, or I can pay 5.375% interest to buy this brand new builder's home, and this brand new builder is actually offering to purchase down my interest rate, and they're paying for my closing costs, and I get this, that, and the other, and it's a brand new house. Why would I buy your house as opposed to theirs? You see what's happening? So it's created this really interesting situation where a lot of people that are wanting to sell right now actually can't really sell because of the things that are going on in the market. By the way, did anybody see something that happened here just the last day or so on a higher level? What has to do with housing? Anybody have any? I want to see if you guys are paying attention to the news. I don't really watch the news at all. Like literally, I watch zero news. I don't even scroll like news channels or shorts or reels. But I am. I used to be a subscriber to the Epoch Times or Epoch Times, however you say it, and so I still on their email junk thing, and so Ryan says Trump executive order. Yeah, there's a lot of that kind of stuff that's still affecting, but the one that I'm talking about in particular, I don't know if you guys noted it or not, but the the head, the CEO of Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, right? They both got fired. And so there's a lot of course, Freddie Mac and Fannie Mae are the two federally backed lending institutions. These are federally funded, federally supported. They're really actually federal agencies, and it looks like, and I don't know for sure what's going to happen because there's a lot of stuff that's being put out there and then it's being reeled back and just kind of shake things up. But the point is, it looks like it's very possible that President Trump and his team could be moving to take Freddie Mac and Fannie Mae to privatize those institutions, which would create a big shakeup and a stir. And here's the point I'm trying to make. Right now, there's a lot of instability, and it doesn't look like rates are going to come down much. It doesn't look like the economy is is really going to be taking off and exploding anytime soon. Inflation is still at an all-time high. There's a lot of instability in the market, and what that translates to is it's still difficult for sellers to sell a house, especially when, like Tess said, they have arrears. So going back to my situation that I'm talking about. By the way, guys, you'll see me on here with Dutch Bros every now and then. This is not judging, but I just want people to know I am a grown up. Okay, I'm almost 45 years old. I do not do sugary drinks, but I don't judge me if I have a Dutch Bros in here. So I don't know why I felt compelled to say that. I don't need to defend myself. So here's the situation. Seller says they want to sell the house. They need to sell. They have to sell. They're behind on payments. And I come across, their listing or whatever. And thank you, Ryan. No, he says, no, I don't have to defend myself. Thank you. It's just an Americano with a little bit of, I'm getting older and I get a little bit of heavy cream in mine every now and then. So Josh says I drank a big old sugary Dutch Bros drink yesterday. So I'm not judging either. Okay, guys. But anyway, so I have this person that needs to sell their house, and they're like, John, please buy my house. And I'm like, man, what you guys are asking for your house right now is just more than the market is even really saying it's worth. I can buy 2 or 3 other houses that are very similar for much less. I have comps to show it. And here's the other thing. If I go out and buy a brand new house, I can actually get a brand new house for even less than I would pay if I was to go out and use my bank to buy your house. So they're like, oh, man, what are we going to do? We really need to sell our house. And so I'm like, tell me a little bit about your situation. Okay. And they start telling, well, we're kind of behind on payments, or, well, we got a job out of state and we need to move, or, well, whatever, we lost a job and we're just kind of things are getting tight. We can't keep up with these payments. So now I start looking at it going, well, let's say, I can't go in and use the traditional, you guys know what the traditional investor model is, right? Does everybody know what the traditional model is for an investor offer? You guys give me a number 2 in the comments if you know what the traditional model is. Or maybe let's say this. Give me a percentage of what the ARV minus whatever it's supposed to be. What's the percentage typical when you're making an investor offer? Like from a typical investor offer, you go in, you say, what's the ARV? What's the after repair finished value? Use a multiplier of what percentage? I want to see if you guys are paying attention here. What percentage do you usually work? Okay, Ryan says 80-20. That's pretty high, I would say, even for an investor. I typically would say, yep, okay, Julisa's got it right, 70%, right? So 70% of the ARV, after repair value. Yep, okay, here comes Andy, 70%. Good, you guys are paying attention. Sherry, 70%. Perfect. You guys are smart. Okay. Cool. So So the typical model threshold is 70% of the ARV, meaning just using super simple math. If the house is worth $100,000 when it's all finished up, then you need to make an offer of $70,000 minus the cost of repairs. That needs to be your cash price. Okay. So back to our model, maybe we have a house that was built in 2018, 2019, or it was renovated and sold in that time period, and they've got a loan on it for like $400,000 or $450,000, but it's only worth like $450,000, or maybe you could even show that it's only worth $430,000, or let's just say it's worth $470,000, but you're gonna have to pay a realtor, right? At least 3%. If some are still paying 6% or the full buyer and seller fee, then you got to pay closing costs. So by the time you do that, you're basically you're selling the property for less than you actually owe on it. Does that make sense? And so I come along and I say, okay, I'll buy your house. You're selling it for $450. I'll buy it for whatever your $450 minus the cost that you would pay your agent minus, the closing costs. So let's just say with all that, it'd be like they were selling it for $450, but they were going to pay an agent. Let's just do the math real quickly. So I'm actually giving you guys a real example. Let's see. Well, you know what? Here's what we'll do. I'll show you guys what we'll do. We will pull out one of the ones that I'm working on right now. Let's see if I can pull up the numbers real quickly without bogging down too much of the thing. I think I can pull it up real quickly because I have the contract here in my DocuSign. So let's see, put in the name, Gary, where are you, Gary? And I'm going to say all reply. Where is that contract? Okay, so here's a real life example of a deal that I have, and it's with a particular guy who he actually was in a situation where he was behind on his payments. And so what we did was I made an offer to purchase the property at the time of the purchase. This is something that's kind of been working on for a little bit now. But at the time of the purchase, his property was worth, I think that his property was worth, if it had been all fixed up, was worth like $480,000. Okay. So $480,000. Let's just do the math real quickly. Let's just say it was worth $480,000 when it was finished. Okay. And then we're going to use the multiplier of 70%. Okay. So you guys watching that right there? That making sense? 480,000 is what the finished value, if it was all fixed up. And by the way, this property was not all fixed up, but let's just say 480 is what it would be worth when it was all done. We use a multiplier of 70%. So that means it's 336,000, but then we have to subtract the cost of repairs. Okay. Now the cost of repairs on this one, I estimated to be about $70,000. Okay. So are we tracking here so far? We got 336,000 is the cash offer minus the cost of repairs. There's other costs involved too if you're doing an actual cash offer, but you can see how the cash offer was going to be 260. Let's just say $250,000 cash offer. Okay. Now the problem with that particular seller, is that they still owed 300, and let's just round it up. Easy numbers, $350,000 on their mortgage. Okay, what are we going to do about that? They owe $350,000, but my best cash offer my best one is $266,000. You see that? So how do we actually help these sellers if a cash offer doesn't even pay off their mortgage, and that obviously doesn't help them at all? Well, here's what I did. I said, well, listen, if you guys will sell me the property for what you owe on it, okay, if you agree to let me take over that part and start making payments, I will give you guys $60,000 when you move out. So I'm all into it for $410,000. Okay, and again, I have to put $70,000 into it, right? Okay, plus the $70,000 I'm going to put into it. means I'm going to have $480,000 into it. But remember what we said the ARV was? You guys remind me, what did I say the ARV on this was at the time that I made this arrangement? I want to make sure I still got you guys, okay? I told you guys a few minutes ago the ARV, the after repair value, someone posted in the comments. I want to see if you guys are still awake. Hopefully this doesn't put you to sleep. All right. Jaleesa, that's right. Jaleesa is the winner. She gets the prize. $480,000 is the ARV. Okay, so why would I agree to purchase a property, take over their payments, and give them the cash that they need and put the money into it? And I'm only going to be into it for what I said originally it was worth. Okay, why would I do that? As an investor, why would I do that? Someone tell me in the comments, why would I do that? Remember, we're investors, right? We don't just go out and just buy a property just because it's on the market. We buy properties at a discounted rate. Or I want to know why would I do that? Okay, Jaleesa's saying no idea. That's a good, honest answer. Mel, okay, she's coming out the ARV. Yep, 480,000. That's right. Okay. Josh says taxes, cash flow, appreciation. All of that is a yes, yes, yes. Tess says low interest rate, so it will cash flow plus appreciation. Now we're getting there. See, some of you guys are starting to understand this. Kevin Smith, hey, good to see you, Kevin. Glad you're here, brother. They had a better interest rate than you can get. Absolutely, because remember today's interest rates are what 6.5%. A couple, not too long ago they were above 7% interest, right? So here's the magical thing on this particular deal. I just want to see if I can pull it up. I want to show you guys just so you know I'm not just talking on here. Let's see. I want to see if I can pull it up. Okay, there we go. Check out this interest rate. You guys check this out. Look at that number right there. That's from the mortgage statement. You seeing that? Okay. Hey, Ryan, good to see you. Thanks for jumping on here. We'll talk to you next time. So 2.99% interest is the interest rate that they have on the remaining balance of the 350. You can see it right there. There's the $350,591. Okay. Hey, I don't know about you guys. By the way, there's a number there. It's like $8,700. That's the negative that they have in their escrow right now. So you can see the principal balance, and then there's their current escrow balance. They're actually upside down. They need about $8,700 to bring the escrow back up. But look at that, 2.99%. I can make payments on this thing locked in till January of 2051. How do you like that for an interest rate? Absolutely, Sherry. Great rate. Yep. Okay. So here's the thing. Yes, Tess says low interest rate again, get better cash flow. Okay. So you guys do the math sometime, but look at the interest rate on 350,000 at 6.5% versus 360,000 at 2.99%. What does that come out to in a monthly payment? It comes out to a fantastically different price on the monthly mortgage payment. So on this particular property, here I have a property. I'm just gonna, since I got the statement right here, my monthly, and this is the actual monthly mortgage payment. Look at that monthly mortgage payment. $2,105 on a mortgage payment of $350,000. Okay, now that's not a bad price. $2,100 is not a bad price anywhere, particularly for this particular house being in a very good Portland neighborhood. And I say that very specifically because there's not very many very good Portland neighborhoods, but there are some. And this is kind of a historic Portland neighborhood, fantastic location. And so here's what I would normally do. I would take that. I say, okay, I gotta give these people $60,000, right? Because I told them if they would leave their loan in place. By the way, I tried to, obviously I always try to get lower than that, but in this particular situation, they had a number in mind that would make them happy. And so I knew I could take over their mortgage payment, give them the $60,000, still put another 70 into it, and still make money on it because I'll be into it for what it was worth at the time of purchase. Now, just so you know, I started this particular deal about 2 years ago. Okay. I started negotiating on this. I've been working on this off and on, kind of in earnest about a year ago. I've been working on it. And so if you guys are here today, right now, you're still watching this, give me a 1 in the comments if this is actually valuable to you. Give me a 1 in the comments if this is valuable. If you're learning something right now, so far you've learned something on today's Tuesday talk. I want to see a 1 in the comments, and I'm going to take a drink. This is actually just an excuse for me to take a drink of my coffee. So, okay, perfect. I'm getting some 1s here. Sherry's giving us a 1. Andy's giving us a 1. Perfect. You guys appreciate it. I just want to make sure this is actually helpful to you. Okay. So here's now where we enter into this arrangement, like I was talking about with my lenders. Which, by the way, I already paid these folks $60,000, helped them move, helped them get all set up and everything. And so got them out of the house, gave them the cash they needed to get moved into a different state. They're living around their in-laws now. And I have this property that they actually have a loan balance amount in arrears of. It's, if you, I don't know if some of you caught it, it's there in that right there, that bottom line, that they were about $32,000 in arrears to the bank. Okay. Now, since we first started talking, let's see, look at this. This is how quickly this stuff adds up. You guys look at the date on that. This was the mortgage statement as of December of 2024. So just a couple of months ago. Okay. This number now, because of the fees and all that kind of stuff, this number is now upwards close to $50,000. Okay. Okay. So Sherry's got a great question. Sherry says, where does the $60,000 come from? Okay. Okay, first of all, in this particular case, Sherry, this particular deal, it came from my business account. So I took $60,000 out of my business account and I used it to pay those people because they really needed to make a decision quickly. And I knew there was really good potential here. But let's just say I didn't have $60,000 in my account. Anybody not have $60,000 in their business bank account? Anybody? Maybe you don't have $60,000 in your business bank account, but you still know that this is a good deal and you still want to try to move forward. What do? Well, do you give up and you kind of slink away? Oh, I don't have $60,000. I can't do real estate. No, you don't do that. Josh says, I don't have $60,000. Okay, fair enough. But does that mean we give up? No. Where can we get $60,000 from? Oh, there's Mr. Josh Hayes coming in strong with the big answer. PML, private money lender. This brings me back around to where I was talking to you guys earlier. Okay. Andy says crickets. He's like, I don't know what we're talking about. Lisa is absolutely right. You guys are good. You got private money lenders, PML coming in strong. That is exactly what we do. What we do is we go to a private money lender. And this goes back to my original question. Why would I go to these lenders I've worked with instead of bringing these types of opportunities to this group? Well, because if I have private money lenders who have anywhere from 50, 60, 100, sometimes $200,000 that they have sitting in an account, or maybe, that's right, Sherry says maybe PML. Yep, absolutely correct. Okay, so if I go to someone who has, let's just say this, maybe you know somebody who has a pretty high amount of equity in their house, and they're not necessarily out there like trying to do real estate deals, but they're kind of wanting to, make, some extra money wherever they could. Couldn't we show them, if we sat down and explained it and actually, walked them through it, couldn't we show them the possibility of leveraging the equity that they have in their personal residence or maybe a rental property? Could we show them how maybe they could get an interest rate locked in of, let's just say, maybe even 6%? We could get it from Pace's grandma. That's great, Mel. I like that. So guys, we could actually go to our friends and family, and Pace says the best place to find private money is right here. Go into your own phone, okay, and actually start talking to people, because the reality is you have no idea how many people have anywhere from 30, 50, 60, $100,000, some of them $200,000, maybe in a bank account or or in equity. Or did you guys know that there is a way? In fact, I'm going to just Google it real quick just because I don't want to mess it up, but let's see here. 401k, do business, Startup. What do we call it? 401k rollover. It's called the ROBS. Have you guys ever heard of the ROBS? Look at that. ROBS, 401k financing program. Okay, what is the ROBS? 401 financing program says you can actually pull money out of your 401k. You can roll it over into a business startup. Roll over business startup. That's a ROBS program. You guys can pull money, and you guys know somebody that's got a good 401k. And again, not everybody's going to do this. We're not trying to say go out and convince everybody, but you should know about these things because you guys can actually bring value to people that are in your world already. And you can show them how they could actually pull money out of their own home equity. They could pull money out of a 401k and put it into a business startup. It has to be done the right way, of course, right? So go out and consult your financing advisor and all that stuff. But you could actually pull money out of a 401k completely penalty and tax free, and you can use that money to start up a business. Well, what kind of business will we start up? How about starting up a lending business? We're actually just taking $50,000 or $100,000 out of a 401k. You put it into this ROBS program, and you have a lending business that loans money out at 10, 12, 15% interest to people like myself, people that are in this business. And yes, Sherry says there's many stipulations with those funds, which is why I said maybe private money. So absolutely. So Sherry's, this is why I'm not saying this is the answer. I'm saying these are multiple opportunities. There's all kinds of different functions. You can pull money from your HELOC. You can pull money from your HELOC to go on a cruise. You could certainly pull your money out of a HELOC, home equity line of credit, to invest in a project or a property. And so what I want you guys to understand is that these types of opportunities are out there. You just have to be able to show people that what you have to offer them is a great property or a great opportunity for them to generate high interest. Now, speaking of high interest, how much is a HELOC loan right now? If you went down to Key Bank or US Bank or any one of these places and said, I'd like to get a home equity line of credit because I've got a lot of equity in my house and I want to put that equity to work. You guys know how much that's going to cost right now? I'm curious if anybody has any ideas. Home equity line of credit. What's the interest rate right now? You guys could probably just Google it right now. Jaleesa is absolutely correct, around 8-ish%. Okay, very cool. Now, what if, so you're like, well, 8%, that's a lot of money that I have to pay to my HELOC, to my bank. Yes, but what if you took that 8% and you loaned it out at 15%? Test says 8 to 9%. Correct. Yep. But what if you took that 8%, that 9%, and you rolled it, you said, I'm going to loan this out. I won't loan it out for anything less than 15%. Or, I mean, shoot for the moon, right? Maybe 20%. Doesn't mean anybody's going to use it, but maybe you say, I'm going to loan this out on a 6-month note for 15% interest plus points, meaning if for every amount that they borrow, they're going to pay a point. That's usually 1% of the amount of money they borrow. So let's go back to the illustration here that I gave. So let's just say I need to borrow $60,000 and I need to get that money to these people. Plus, I already told you, I want to put $70,000 of repairs into this house. Okay. Let's just do some quick math. Okay. Now let's stick to the example because let's just take out the 60,000 because I've already spent that money. So let's just say I've already spent that money. So I need $70,000 to fix up the house. Plus, remember how much I told you guys the arrears amount was? I showed you in the picture, but it's actually gone up to around $50,000. So if I say I need $70,000 to do the repairs, plus I need another $50,000. You guys are math geniuses. You didn't need a calculator, but I'm just putting it out there so you can see it. $120,000 is what I need to get this property, this particular property, back in good shape, meaning I got the loan caught up and I've got the money I need to get all the renovations and repairs done. And here's the thing. This particular property at this time has actually gone up in value. So the comps that I have right now, and this is one of the things I love about doing creative financing because sometimes it's good to put your money. I put $60,000 into a property that I have really done nothing with. I'm not saying this is good practice. I'm just saying I'm not crying about it because I put 60 grand into a property that without doing anything to it, haven't touched it. the value of that particular property in that particular neighborhood has continued to increase despite the economy around us because it's in a great location, right? What's the number one rule of real estate? It's location, location, location. Okay. So I've got a great property in a great neighborhood. It needs about, it really could probably get done with about 50,000, but I'm just saying, just to make sure I get it all done, get it fully staged, I need about 70 grand to get this property finished. Okay. And I need about 50 grand to pay off the bank and get caught up and start making payments. Now, remember what I told you guys? It's about $2,100 a month to make those payments, right? Okay. Conservatively, this property will rent by itself, like on a regular long-term month. Conservatively, this property will rent for about $3,000 a month if I just do a regular long-term renter in, okay? Conservatively. So if it's $2,100 a month, let's just say I pay a property manager. They charge me 10% of the rent, so there's $300 a month. So 21 plus 300 is 2,400. Let's just say with you, it's all the little stuff, $2,500 a month. I still cash flow $500 a month on this property, okay? Now, if I turn this into a midterm rental, like a travel nurse or something like that, it has the potential to make somewhere close to about $3,800 a month. Easily, okay? If I do a short-term rental, which I know that we're not really strong on short-term rentals right now, but in some locations, some short-term rentals are still doing very good. Short-term rental on this place is probably going to be around $4,000 or more per month, okay? On average, right? Not every single month, but on average, especially because of the peak seasons. So what I'm saying is this particular property is well worth me saying, hey, I'll take over your mortgage of $350,000. I'll pay you $60,000 and I'll go put another 70 grand into it plus catch up the arrears, because here's the thing. I know that no matter how much money I put into this place up to a certain amount, I'm still going to cash flow on it. Okay? Not only do I know that, but I also know that because of the location, this particular property, when I first started negotiating, I was easily able to show the sellers that it was about $480,000 value, finished value. This particular property, I have comps, like just as recently as being sold just last month, I've got comps in the high 500s and actually a couple that are in the mid 630s, around 630. So guys, I have a massive amount of equity in this property. I've only got $60,000 out of pocket into it. And if I can go to a lender and pull in $120,000, I can get the thing completely finished, completely caught up, and I can make payments on that $120,000 for a year or 2 years. If someone wants to park their money somewhere for 2 years, I can still cash flow on it, okay? And at the end of 2 years, at the end of that 1 year note, or whatever it is that I have, I just go and I either refinance through a HELOC, or guess what else I could do? I could easily show somebody, hey, Mr. Lender, here's a property that's been cash flowing for me. It's, by the way, it's turnkey, right? It's completely finished up. It's beautiful. I can show that I'm making money on it every month, even with the note that I have there. And I can say, Mr. Lender, I need to pay off this current short-term loan that I have on it. And I'd like to, see if you would like to come in and be my new lender. And I'll be happy to pay you 10% interest or 12% interest for just parking your money in my property for a year or two. Now, is that really the most economic way to do this? No, but it is a very good way to do these types of deals without necessarily having to go and pull a bunch of money out of your pocket. You guys have heard of Gator lenders, right? If you guys have heard of Gator lenders, give me a 1 in the comments. Give me a 1 in the comments if you've heard of Gator lenders. Yeah, great question, Josh. Josh is, will it still cash flow as long-term rental after borrowing from the PML for repairs? Absolutely. Honestly, how much, if I'm paying 10% interest on or 12%, let's just say I'm paying 15% interest on $120,000 on a monthly basis. I mean, how much money is that really? I'm gonna do the money, do it real quick. Take $120,000. Let's just say I'm going to pay 15% interest, amortized over 1 year. So we're going to take $18,000. You guys seeing that right there? 15% interest is $18,000. What do? We divide that by 12 months. right? Okay. And even at that right there, I mean, you're talking about a very, very cheap, what is it, about $150 a month. So, you guys, the idea here is that when it comes to private money lenders, okay, let me go back to my question. Okay, by the way, thank you. I see some ones. Good. Okay. So, if I go back to my private money lender that I've worked with multiple times, and I've probably got about 10 of them that I've worked with repeatedly. Okay. This is why I don't necessarily bring these deals always to the group. You see people out there, hey, I'm looking for money for this, I'm looking for money for that. I've not really done that in my groups, in my communities, simply because of the fact that I already have great relationships established with my existing lenders. And in fact, I actually need more deals to give them because they like doing this. I mean, they're making great money. I have some, this is what I was going to say. I have some private money lenders. They're not even looking for monthly income. They're actually just looking to know that um, in what do you call it, in 12 months or 24 months, they're going to make all their money back. So let's just say in this particular example, I have a lender that I could call right now in Texas. I've done multiple deals with him and his wife. And I could call this lender in Texas and I could say, hey, I need $120,000. I'm going to pay you back 10% interest in 1 year. Are you interested? He would check with his wife. They would probably talk a little bit and then they would get back to me. And every single time I've asked them that, they've said yes. Now, I don't say, hey, can you give me $120,000? I just say, I need $120,000 on one of my projects. I pay 10%. This particular opportunity pays 10% interest. It's a project that I expect will be completed within about 2 months, and it'll be cash flowing within 2 months for me. And I'll pay you back your $120,000 plus 10% interest 12 months from the time you give it to me. So do the math, $120,000 plus 10% interest. It's another $12,000. So I'm going to pay him back what? $132,000 at the end of 12 months. Okay. So if I, on that particular lender, I might use him and I don't have to pay any money on a monthly basis. I just actually make payments to the lender on the obviously the bank. And then at the end of the 12 months, I just have to have enough money to pull in to pay him off. Okay. So Tess says, I'm looking for a PML with 12-month term. That's actually not that hard to find, Tess. I think if you would start asking people, or maybe don't ask, just tell them. I like to tell people that here's the opportunity that I have if you're interested. Okay, Francisco says, I'm a labor lender. I like that. So he'll lend you some labor in exchange for a deal, maybe cut at the end. Let's see. Julissa says, I have an appointment. I have to go. Thanks for all the info. I'm watching later. Okay, perfect. Guys, what I'm trying to give you some ideas of some scenarios here that are actual real life deals, right? This is something that I'm currently working on right now. And if I went to somebody and said, hey, I know that you never worked with me before, but I have a history of borrowing and paying back. I've never missed one. I've never, ever, ever not paid someone back for the money they lend me. I've always paid 10% interest minimum. Okay. And I've done this enough times, and I've signed documents to show all of this, statements, notarized, and everything from multiple lenders. After when I pay them off, I stamp their thing and say, you guys, if you guys are happy, then sign on the dotted line. People say, yep. So here's the thing. By the way, look at that, Tess. You got Sherry Moore says, let's chat. Okay. So you guys are doing deals right here in the Tuesday Talks. I love it. The point is this, when you guys are dealing with private money lenders, a lot of times the terms and conditions are totally negotiable. Meaning this, you guys can actually have conversations and find out what you want. So in most cases, I'll tell my lenders what I want is I want to borrow that money from you. I want to put it into a project that I know has a pretty good chunk of equity in it. I want to pay you back in 12 months. And I don't want to really hear anything from you until then. And a lot of times, you know what people say? Yeah, absolutely. That money's just sitting over here, not making me anything. If you can, make it make 10% interest, then I'm absolutely fine with that. So that's how I normally do that. So I just want you guys to know a little bit about that's how I'm doing my deals. I have a deal like that right now on the table. like I said, I'll probably start going out to some of my lenders and saying, hey, I need about 120K. I'll describe something obviously more in detail than what I've just told you here, but I'll describe this to them. I'll show them the pictures. I'll give them the idea of the scope of work and what I expect the project's going to make. I'll show them the numbers. And more often than not, I've got people that are literally just looking for a place to park that money. And as long as they know it's in a secure place, the paperwork is in order, and they're going to get paid back in 12 months plus their interest, they're happy. Now, is that everybody? Of course not. Some people, they leverage, they're more risk, what do you call it? They're more risk tolerant. And okay, Monica says, what if I have a third of that? Monica, we can chat. I'm not necessarily, typically it works better to kind of get it all in one lump sum, but I'm okay with you working with you guys, some of you guys in this group. I just want to make sure that you are fully understanding. And here's the thing with private money lenders, the ones that I have, they don't necessarily need this money to come back to them right away. You see, there's a big difference between somebody that actually like needs this money to live off of, in a couple of months versus somebody that's got this money. It's just been kind of collecting, and they can, discharge it. They can put that money to work, and it comes back at them, 12 months. Sometimes some of my lenders have 50,000, they'll loan for 24 months, and that money comes back to them at, the interest rate that makes them happy. And they don't even really think about it until that comes back. And normally what happens is whenever I go to pay that loan back, the first question they ask is, hey, John, you got another deal I can loan you on? So the great thing is once you establish some of these relationships, as long as you can find the deals that make sense for these people, it's actually a slam dunk thing. And it's actually very, very simple. These are not hard things to do, guys, is what I'm trying to say. This is not complicated. This just has to make sense. So with that being said, I can't believe we're already over an hour. I'm going to jump off of here, guys, let you get back to your day. Appreciate you all. If you guys got value out of this, I'd love to hear some feedback. Maybe even go in and share this video and or share the link in the different places. Josh, how did you find the deal? That's a great question. I found this deal through my secret sauce through the Legacy Leads deals. The Legacy Leads is, I think, America's best, absolute best, highly motivated seller leads. And so thanks for asking that, Josh. Great question. Sherry, good to have you here. Thanks for joining us. Tess, thank you. I'll see you, Tess, tomorrow on the Legacy Leads training. Looking forward to that. Legacy Leads group, we're taking them through how to find these types of deals and where to find them and exactly what to say. Andy, same for you. I'll be seeing you. What's the demand? Andy says, what's the demand for homes 1 to 5 million doing sub 2? Are there any buyers if I find those types of homes at interest rates below 4%? Andy, absolutely. Obviously, you have to understand that your buyer's pool is going to be much smaller, right? Most people aren't looking for property. The average American isn't looking for properties in the $1 to $5 million range. Having said that, I know several people that are, because I'm in the sub 2 community. I'm in the owners club community. I myself am always looking for homes in that price range because I have a special use that I do with those types of properties. So if you find something like that, Andy, let me know. But guys, I will see you soon. If you're going to be on the Legacy Leads call tomorrow, that's going to be tomorrow. Don't forget, we're going to be doing it tomorrow morning. It's Wednesdays. It's when we've got that locked in. And Josh will be posting the time and the link here soon. So appreciate you guys. God bless you. Talk to you soon. Have a great rest of your Tuesday. We'll see you.